location is the location of the slave auctions for hundreds of years. This is where they sold the African American people in Dorchester County. This is also the location where they sold one of her sisters, maybe two, into slavery. She orchestrates her first rescue attempt here with her niece Keziah Bowley and her two children. She is not here. She is emancipated and in Philadelphia with a gentleman by the name of William Still. He is known as the father of the Underground Railroad system, the anti-slavery movement, this powerful organization helping people emancipate out of this horrible institution. She hears about it, they work the system, and they're put on a boat down to the wharf. They meet Harriet Tubman in Baltimore. That's how the escape happened in this area, by water. Dorchester County is the third largest county in the state of Maryland with land and waterfront included. It's very rural, almost like a natural prison. Mr. William Still is in Pennsylvania documenting everything that comes through there as far as enslaved. The book is called The Underground, published in the late 1800s. Inside of this book, they have a journal called Journal C. If you get the book, you'll see this escape I'm talking about right today. Now, at this courthouse, she would have seen this very courthouse where you're at. She comes up and down this street right behind you, going to work with her father. Her father is an incredibly talented African-American man. He cuts timber, and he can navigate by the stars. He uses the North Star to travel north. He knows these things because it's taught through him through generations of African Americans. Now, at the courthouse last September, we have Harriet Tubman in two different forms. The emancipated Harriet Tubman here, and the young Araminta Minty here. Even with a shackle around her arm, here. The mark in her head, which was caused by this weight, 2-pound weight at the store. We're going by there today. Now, the interesting thing about Dorchester County at this time, that half the African Americans in Dorchester County are free. A volatile society of slaves. Free and slave. What did that mean? Nothing, basically. Being enslaved or free in slavery means you're not owned by someone. That's it. You don't get the right to go to the store. You don't get the right to do all these things. That doesn't come to 100 years later in March of 1965. That's how long progression happened. Now, at this very historical location, Harriet Tubman is representing freedom. All at the bottom of this statue, you have open shackles, you have closed shackles. The open ones represent freedom of the enslaved inside of slavery, which means nothing. The closed ones are the ones that are enslaved. It has a spiritual component with the yoke because she's a naturalist. She learns all these things inside of slavery, how to handle oxen, how to handle mules, but this is a yoke of oxen here and she's stepping on it and she has broken it. So her hand is pointing to the stars, but she is facing north, behind her is south. And in her hand here, she's handing her younger self the key to freedom. This is, if she could hand it to her, she would hand it to her. So people come here and rub it. This is a grassroots movement. People come here and leave flowers. People come here and leave money. People come here just to be in the presence of freedom. This is what this represents, folks. It's only been here since September of last year.
Oh, wow. Oh, wait. Wow.
Our powerful, powerful statement inside of Dorchester County. Representation of freedom in today's atmosphere. Looks like this.
Yeah.
Looks like this. The county seen fit for that to happen inside of a place where freedom was once jeopardized. Now you have representation of this great American African-American woman. This statue has a life expectancy of 15,000 years. That's a long time. So she's gonna be here a while. So take some pictures, ask some questions. We're just beginning. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Do you know who the sculptor is?
Yes, I do. Do I know who the sculptor is? His name is Wesley Wolfert. He's a well-known sculptor.
Does he live in this area?
No, he does not. He lives in Cashiers, North Carolina. And that's up in the mountains.
Let's get a picture.
Yes, yeah, take some pictures, ask some questions. We're going to take a little walk. See where that black car truck is? We're going to walk right down to the street right there. We're going to talk about a house that's right on that street. So ask some more questions, if you will.
I'm curious about Dorchester County and
Climate change in Dorchester County. Rise of water in Dorchester County. For the street right here, right beside you on your right. Why? Because Araminta 50 gets access to this street very young. Information processed inside of slavery is very key for the enslaved. Moving from one location to another location is powerful. Why is that powerful? Because when she emancipates herself, this is what she sees when she gets to Philadelphia. She sees the wealth. Watch yourself there, back in just a little teeny bit, please. Sorry. 1740, she would have seen houses, these two houses. She also sees the enslaved here different, more of a society. Only these principles were founding for her becoming Harriet Tubman. No cotton here, no that. This house right here, the building right behind it, is a documented slave quarter. One of only few left, right there, that building, right there in the back. Come up here and see it. Let's go see it a little bit, right here. Not gonna go far. Documented slave quarter, the building in the back. Why is that so important? It gives you an idea how they lived in this area. When you go down south, you see tenant houses. That's far as you go right there. Hold it. Hold it. Building right there. Building in the back. Tenant houses. Shacks. This is a home of a doctor and a lawyer. Father, son. Now, with my research through the years I've been doing, Mr. Bailey would have been a good sympathizer. Why? His father is a lawyer. That same escape I was telling you about, you would have no other way to find it besides inside information through sympathizer. That's not documented, but it makes good sense. Everybody did not believe in slavery. Yes? That's a documented slave quarters. The Baileys enslaved men that worked here, lived in that home back there. And it's still standing back there. So it gives you an inside look. I always use this analogy for why is this so important? What do you do when you go to New York besides get lost and spend a lot of money? You go to Manhattan. Everybody been to Manhattan? Yeah. Okay. What do you do?
Look at the house.
Look at the big buildings. Big skyscrapers. You look around. You don't process it every day, so you take a look at it. People in New York's like, get out of the way. They don't have to process it every day. This information becomes very resourceful to her, very young. This is how this incredible young woman that grows up to be Harriet Tubman processes information by her environment around. You're standing on it. You're in the same neighborhood that would happen for her. These family principles, all we know is she wakes up one day and she's Harriet Tubman. Not so. She's born inside of slavery. She grows up inside of slavery. And this is some of the things that she sees when she grows up. Her father leverages through his owner. He asked Dr. Thompson, can I have my daughter Araminta? She can work like a man. And she can. But the resourcefulness is very incredible because she can do all of these jobs very young. That's why they use this resource talent to her. Everybody say, poor Araminta, she ain't working at 8 years old. That's true. but she had to be talented enough, intelligent enough to be able to do the job. And it winds up benefiting her immensely. These things work out very well for her. Now, is it easy? Absolutely not. But this is what she sees. She sees the Bailey slaves working in the yard, working the farm, and that farm, the land, cooking, cleaning. All of these things are very important as she moves right down to the wharf where we're going next. Documented slave quarters in the same configuration. This house, 1739, 1796, father and son live right next to each other. And he is processing the slaves that are getting sold right at the courthouse. His law office is right next door. So he's doing this business. His son would know about it and could pass it to the Underground Railroad. Sympathizing works in that order. That's how it works. We think of it in a total different era, but here it's different. In Tubman Country, it's different. All of these tools that she gathers up works well. Now, unbeknownst to her, she's not thinking about pretty much how this is going to happen because she's, at this point in time, she doesn't know all of how the Underground Railroad works. All she knows, she's a part of this society. She knows that certain things happen that way. But once she finds out the right people at the right time, boom, she becomes Harriet Tubman. She can say, I've been here, I've seen the Bailey House, I know where Long Wharf is, I know where Dorchester, I know where Cambridge is. And she can get there and come back. And that's how she becomes successful here. Okay? Any questions? Somebody that just bought this house, and this one's for sale. Yep. Yep. Are they going to do something with it? They're personal property. So, I mean, you can live in it. People have lived in this one for a long time. Yeah. It takes a lot, a lot of money to keep it up.
Oh, yeah.
But if that's what you want to do, $777,000. That's not bad for a house like this. That's not bad for a house like this. Houses like this down south for $2 or $3 million. Wow. Easy down in Charleston, yes. And they're not as big. Okay, so we're going to get back. Okay, right in front of you is the Take by Hand mural painted by Mike Rosado, finished in 2019. This mural speaks to the life and legacy of Harriet Tubman today. Even though she's been gone for 201 years, it speaks to her today. And how does that happen? A mural tells a story. That big, larger-than-life hands right there, the ladies identifying with, everybody comes here and wants to do this. Wow, good, you're connecting with her.
Yeah.
You know, DAP, connecting, 5, right? Okay? Not only she's doing that, she's stepping up on the brick wall, and she's holding on to the museum. Reaching out, stepping up, and holding on to the promise even today. Over her left shoulder is the North Star, the guiding light, the beacon of hope. In today's world, which we all live into, we need some hope. Behind her shoulder, underneath her shoulders, the red glowing sunset. What is that for? That is recognition of when the escapes happen. They happen during the winter months, folks. Now, people think that Harriet Tubman is the orchestrator of the Underground Railroad. How many people thought that? No? Oh, okay. Most people believe that she started it. But you know what? It was going on 60 years before she was even born. In this area, 60 years. She jumped in and she advanced it so many times that she got recognized as one of the top Underground Railroad conductors in this area. Now, The water is a pivotal part of her life, all her life. She learns how to use the water. Some people ask me, well, could slaves swim? Why would they need to learn how to swim? Right? What would they need it for if they had a boat to escape? You get in the boat and go anywhere you want. Why do you buy a car and walk everywhere? You just don't. Right? So the boats are used for that, and the promise of making escapes from this area by that action. Now, the fragmitis is what we're going to be experiencing when we get out in the countryside, far as the location and what it looks like. And if you look at her face, she's reaching out, stepping up, and holding on to the promise even today. Folks, I say, and I always say to people that come here, and a lot of people, I meet a lot of people, freedom is a priceless word even today. A necessity in our society is the very freedoms that we walk in every day. These freedoms are being jeopardized for everybody today. Don't marginalize it to one race. It's everybody. The oppressed and the oppressor worked inside of this system. Her life beat the odds of a difficult situation, and her face is reaching to you to connect. Now, Mr. Jermaine Harrison, for those, take the pictures, for those that want to be a part of what he talked about at the statue, you get his information. He is a part of that. Make sure you get there. If you want to buy a brick or something like that, go to him right there. We're going to take some pictures. I want to get a group picture before we leave, and then we'll head on the bus and head a little bit further. Why y'all late? Got a few more? Come on there. Still getting off the bus? Okay. Have a seat. All right. Okay, folks. Welcome to the Rock Community School. This school is 157 years old. When you walked in here, you didn't hear the floor creak?
No.
We got almost 50 people in here and probably more. It's not swaying or buckling or anything. This building is built when things were built tough. And you're sitting in a piece of history that taught a lot of people. Now, the Rock Community School will teach grades 1 through 6, didn't even add 7th on. First set there, second set behind, they went all around. And everybody paid attention. Anybody ever get an H in school? Anybody ever get a L in school?
No.
What about an M?
No.
That stands for high, medium, and low. And this report card was from 1954. Pass around, take a look at it.
1947.
We got one here from, and another one here from 1947, I think.
Yeah, I got it right here.
You got it? Oh, you picked it up. Oh, what's on the table? Okay. Wait, before she gets, pass that around too.
Okay.
Okay. Then y'all remember this?
Oh, yeah.
Huh? Remember that?
Yeah.
What about these? In a time and period where things were simple, the community seemed to need to be able to buy the school and place it on this property to teach kids life skills, reading and writing in 1867. That shows you how Reconstruction operated in Tubman Country. All things that look bad are not bad. This is proof of it right here. You're sitting in it. You're a part of it. And right here, she didn't come. That's Miss Lisa Green's mother. My beautiful wife you just met. Her family is from our community. Her mother went to this school. Her uncles, her father, her grandparents were second family members of this community and would be a part of what you are sitting in now. It shows the connection on still how Harriet Tubman was so successful inside of Dorchester County. You would never think things like this would ever happen in an institution which we are talking about. The success was set up for this woman to help people access freedom. And they continually work to the progress of education, religion, and success through situations like this. Folks, the Stanley Institute has graduated and people had came from here. They went on to be large businessmen of corporations and school teachers and deans of college. Went to places like this. This exact place. Matter of fact, Mr. Ezekiel Stanley, who was named after, he has, Mr. Kaya, who was named after, has a hall named in UMES, Kaya Hall. Went to this school right here. That's why it's named after. So, they learned how to play the flute, which is one of them right here. Flute class. They have them here dressed as Indians. But not try that anymore. But you can see these pictures on the wall are done very, very well. And they're all done by that lady right behind there, Miss Elsie Chase, a black photographer. Miss Elsie Chase took all of these pictures in black and white. Ain't that something? Black and white. And look how beautiful they are. But it shows how things operated here. And I wanted to share that with you in a building that's pushing on to be 200 years old, that you're still able to come inside and look around. And look behind you, those are dinosaurs.
Oh, yeah.
I said, you know, I rarely used them when I went to school. Rarely. You know, unless you really wanted to look up something. I read a lot of books now. But I don't think you ever get rid of a book. I mean, I don't think you ever get rid of a book. I mean, much as technology is now, you still can read a lot, but a book just has its own personal connection. And I did a tour the other day, and the lady came upstairs and said, I don't know what you're talking about. I got a encyclopedias in my house. But, you know, I was saying, like, for resourcefulness. But all of these books, some of these books in here date back years and years. They kept everything pretty much in the same context. This is why it looks the way it does, because the community took care of it. Okay? So do we have any questions? We're going to load back on the bus. Anybody enjoy this?
Yes.
Okay.
I attended a school just like this in North Carolina. It was on the Jewish Roosevelt. So, wow.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Oh, yeah. You can play around in them kind of schools. You just play around. Oh, yeah. Bring back a lot of memories, yeah. Yeah. It's very rare that you get in an old schoolhouse that you can come into and sit down.
You know, you're talking about Kaya. Kaya's son taught me that to say.
Did it? There you go. Yep, Kaya. Yep.
Kaya, Waters,
All right. Yes. Where did I go to school? Oh, Tubman County.
Okay.
Yep, it's right the county where you came through.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So, did that other thing get
Everybody came here with this little ramp. Amazing. This is significant. I wouldn't be surprised.
things that you usually need for eating, nothing that mass quantity for selling, because the farm would only been 10 acres. Most of this area would have been trees. All around you, a lot of it would have been trees. Now they have the driver swing into this little inlet because it's a famous sign here you always see when you Google Harriet Tubman, and it said Harriet Tubman. And we see this sign whenever you like Google say when Harry do anything with Harriet Tubman. So get over a little bit. We're not going to get off. We're just going to go by the sign. Go over this way, sir. You can get some pictures. Cruise by for people getting the pictures. Moses of her people. So everybody get a picture. The location of her home, her childhood home, is here. That house right there doesn't have any significance of being at that time, but there's a building behind it that would have been. All of the area you're looking in front of you and on your left would have been all tree stands. I also believe this is a location where she decided not to be a slave. Bucktown. And this is where they would have all the stores, blacksmith shops, all the stuff would be in this area. But right in front of us is the Bucktown Village Store, where the altercation happens, where she gets injured with a 2-pound weight. She comes down to the store to grab some goods. Inside the store, an altercation happens. If you want to take some pictures, you can take them now through the window, or when we make a left and head down to Bucktown, head back to Cambridge. Anybody want some pictures?
Yep.
Okay, so the driver can kind of cruise through, and I'll finish the story. An altercation happens inside the store with another African-American male. She's asked to grab him. She does not. He picks up the 2-pound weight, throws it, knocks her unconscious. She's taken back to the farm, expected to die. She does not. Her mother nurses her back to health. She's put back to work. This injury that happened here, she would speak of calling it the dreaded sleeping disease, where she will pass out any time of the day or whenever. She also spoke of when she did that, moving north with people, she said God would speak to her on what to do and not to do. So it kicked her spirituality into another gear. It happened there at Bucktown. The plaque there is 1812, 1890. Yep. Scots United. And they would attend there, Brodess, and the slavers were very religious. Did a real good job of painting about his great aunt, Harriet Tubman in Dorchester County.